Hi and welcome to class number 6 in my beginner series. This class we're going to focus on Warrior 2. So again, we're moving with those standing poses. Warrior 2 is a great pose to master, as within the standing poses, it's often a pose we use to transition between different standing poses. So it's a great one to master from the get-go. This class I had a lot of fun creating, so I hope you enjoy it too. If you do, again, props are never ever necessary in these classes, but always handy if you've got a block or a book or anything resembling that, just for one of our later stretches. And exactly the same with a pillow. Always handy to have a pillow. You can even have a pillow every single time in your Savasana, that end resting pose. You can always pop a pillow under your neck just to be as comfortable as possible once we've done all the hard work. So we'll get stuck in. We're actually going to start in a supine position, which is a lying down position. So we'll start in a bit of a mini Savasana. So enjoy it. You can whack your pillow under the head if you want to. Starting to slow down the breath. Deeper breath here. And this time, I want you to listen to any of the sounds around you. It might be quite noisy where you are. It might be quite quiet. Here I can hear some birds chirping outside my window, which I realise is actually a very common thing in New Zealand. But just listen and notice. And feel into the present moment. We're going to do a couple of belly breaths before we start. So just that deep breathe in, down into our belly, pushing up our belly as we breathe in, and sucking in the belly as we breathe out, letting all of the air out. So on your next exhale, we will then take an inhale to the count of 4, pushing our belly up and out as we do so. So in, 2, 3, 4, push the belly out, and out, 2, 3, 4, suck the belly in, and again, in, 2, 3, 4, push the belly out like a big balloon, and out, 2, 3, 4, suck the belly in. One final time, in, 2, 3, 4. See if you can take one more sip here and expand the belly as much as you possibly can. And out, 2, 3, 4. Let it go. And just return the breath back to your normal breathing. Noticing the breath. We are now going to take a big stretch up overhead. So keep remaining your arms on the ground. They're going to come up above your head. Your toes are going to point. Your palms can come together or just push into the fingertips. And we're going to do a big full body stretch on the ground. So breathing in, stretching out the whole body, pushing on the toes, acting like someone's pulling you to both ends of the room. Breathe in and breathe out. Let it all go. We're going to stretch up again, but this time we're going to do what we call a banana stretch. So we're going to bring both of our hands and feet, we're going to crawl them over to the right hand side. So you crawl keeping your hips exactly where they are, glued to the mat. We'll start to move our Right feet over to the outer edge of the mat, and our head and hands are going to bend slightly so we look like a big banana lying on the mat, stretching into that whole left hand side of the body. Here you're more than welcome to clasp onto the left hand and give it a little pull if you've got some more room, and you can cross the left ankle over the right ankle for a bit more of a stretch. Again, it doesn't have to be too intense here for our first stretch of the day. Breathe in and let it go. Crawling back through center, we'll go the whole way to the left hand side like a big banana in the opposite direction. So right ankle can cross over left ankle, and you can clasp onto the right hand and give your fingertips a pull if you wish. To stretch the whole way through the right hand side of the body. The legs, the hips, the chest, the armpit, the arm. Stretch it all out. Breathe in and let it out. Let's do one more full body stretch because that always feels great. We'll point the toes, push into the toes, push into the hands, act like someone's pulling us to either end of the room. Breathe in and breathe out, let it go. We're going to bend the knees and plant the bottom of the feet onto the mat, up into our bridges that we know so well now. Hands are going to come down. They can start off down by our side. We're going to try and add in some arm movement to our bridges today. Warming up the glutes, warming up the thighs, warming up the core. So first of all, we know where we're going. This time you can actually lift the shoulder blades and bring them together if they're not already. So your whole back's pushing into the ground. We're going to push into our hands, push into our feet, bring the heels, bring the heels as close to the bum as you can get them to help you push up. So when you're ready, push into the hands, push into the feet, and rise up. Push those hips towards the sky as much as you can, making sure that your knees aren't falling out the way as you push up, trying to keep them both tracking in one line. As you come down slowly. As always, we move with intention in yoga, but you're going to raise the hands up above the head and bring them back down to rest on the mat. So we're going to go like this again. So as we rise up, you're going to push into the bottoms of the feet and raise the hips up as you bring the hands back down to push onto the mat. As you get the hands onto the mat, you can use that palm and arm strength to push the hips up to the sky a little bit more. We're going to keep going with that flow and motion. So as you lower the bum slowly, the hands come up overhead, reaching behind the head and touch to the mat, bum comes down. Here we go again. Use a nice flowing action, push into the feet, push the hips up into the sky, moving slowly. Once our hands are on the mat, we can use our arm strength to push the hips up to the sky a little more, making sure the knees aren't falling out to the side. 2 more like this in your own time. Moving with the breath, moving slowly. Raising the hips up to the sky, giving up your glutes a good squeeze to raise them higher. And lower it down. Final one in your own time, not moving too quickly. And once your bum hits the floor and your legs are overhead, we'll take our arms into a cactus shape beside us, so a 90-degree angle. We'll shift my block. Keeping our legs where they are, we'll do that lovely windshield wiping action. Bring your knees down from side to side, doesn't matter which side first. Just moving slowly, opening up the hips, flushing out that movement. Wonderful. We're going to bring our hands back down towards the side of our bodies, palms facing down to the mat. And we're going to bring our legs up. So our knees, our shins and our thighs are at a 90-degree angle. So our knees should be at a 90-degree angle. We're going to hold here, engaging the core to help keep your legs in this position. And we're going to do some toe taps. Let's warm up the core, feel the fire in our tummy. So when you're ready, we're going to tap the right foot, keeping this bend in our leg. We're going to tap the right toe gently onto the ground and then bring it back up. Keeping the right knee where it is, left toe is going to come down. Tap the mat very gently and come back up. Right toe comes down, taps onto the mat very lightly and comes back up to our 90-degree position. Left toe, give it a little tap and back up. Just one more on each side. You've got this. Tense the muscles in the tummy. Tap the right toe down, back up. And tap the left toe down, final time, back up. Well done, hug the knees into the chest. Give it a big old squeeze. You can rock and roll to the side there. And we're going to rock and roll up to seated. So you can bring the hands to the backs of the thighs. I'm going to rock and roll the spine. Enjoy this rock and roll motion. If you feel any nice cracks in the spine, it feels great to get that out. And then get some momentum and come up to a seated position. We're going to do one of my favorite hip openers here. So this is called 90-90 leg. So again, we're going to keep that angle that we had in the knees. I'm just going to turn, you stay facing the way you are. I'm going to turn this way so it becomes more clear. So our left knee, we'll start off with the left knee. The right shin should be facing to the short edge of the mat if you're still facing the front of your mat. And the left shin will do that. The right knee will come to the bottom of the foot. And we're going to maintain that right angle. We've got two right angles here. Our left hand is going to come behind the back. We can be on our fingertip. Actually, no, let's be on our palms because we're going to rise up. So if you can get the palm down onto the floor. We will then sweep you can watch this one first to show you. We're going to sweep our hand up overhead and push the hips up towards the sky. Bringing the arm back. So it's that sweeping motion here. We push into the hand and push into the glutes to rise up with the hips like we did in our bridge. So if you're ready and you've got your feet in position, so those 90-degree angles with the legs, the same as we did with our toe taps. Our hand is behind us, our palms rest on the floor, and when you're ready, come with me. We're going to sweep the arm up over by the ear and rise up. Push the hips up to the sky, open up the hips, swing it back down. Two more like this. Push into the palm, rise up through the hips, sweep the hand around by the ear, and use that circle motion to come back down slowly. Let's not drop out of it. Rising up one final time, see if you can push just a little bit further towards the ceiling. And back down. Lovely. We can bring the right hand now to the back, and we're just going to do this motion where we swing through our legs. It's a bit of a windshield wipe again, like we've done before. So we'll just windshield wipe our legs around one time. So now our right shin, I'm now facing the back of the mat. You should now be facing sort of the side of the mat, but I'm going to do a twisteroo around so you can see me. So our right shin should be straight forward. We have that 90-degree angle. Knee comes to around where the heel is. Another 90-degree angle in the back leg. Right hand comes behind if it's not already. And let's go. Sweep the hand up. A nice circular motion. It comes by the ear, the arm does. And we push the hips to the sky. Sweep it back down, nice and slowly. This is shoulder mobility here. So as we're opening the hips, we're also getting a lovely rotation through the shoulder, warming them up as well. Back down. And third and final time, nice rotation in the shoulder. Push the hips up to the sky. See if you can push your hips just a little bit higher on this third and final time. And back down to the ground. Lovely. Let's come into a tabletop. Facing the front of your mat, tabletop position. Hands and knees are hip width and shoulder width distance apart. Gosh, that's a tongue twister. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips in a nice neutral position. Always just keep sort of a bit of a core engagement so that you're not just resting down like this. We want to keep our spine nice and neutral in this position to protect it at all times. We are going to, we're going up into a downward dog. So we are tucking the toes. Let's do this slowly. It's our first downward dog. So let's remember all of our cues for this. So we'll tuck our toes and push our bum back towards the heels. We will lift our fingertips up off the mat, spread them wide, and then plant them back down to the mat. We'll push into the whole hand, but particularly the middle finger and the thumb. So push into the middle finger and the thumb. We are trying to rip the mat in half and bring the shoulder blades together on our back. And then when we are completely firm and tensed in our arms, then, only then, hips are sending up to the sky and heels are pushing back towards the ground, towards the mat, sorry. They may not reach that. Pedal it out. Enjoy it. Opening up the chest. Hopefully, the more that we practice this position, you might be starting to feel a wee bit stronger holding this downward dog. Opening the chest. Shaking the head. No. Nodding the head, yes, to make sure our neck is nice and loose in this position. All right, let's start to work on our warrior two. So let's raise the left leg up high. Raise it up high. Now we're pushing into those 3 points that are in the mat. When we lift up one leg, we don't want to start wobbling over to the right hand side. We're trying to keep our two hips facing in the same direction. So we got to engage the core in this position. Without leaving you hanging here for too long, we'll bend the knee and we're going to squeeze it into the chest as we move forward and plant that foot. All right, so stay in a runner's lunge this time. We're going to move from runner's lunge to, we're going to work from the feet up in this position. So in your runner's lunge, always making sure that your ankle is underneath your knee to protect the joints. We're then going to spin the back foot. So the right heel, if you're with me, is going to come down to touch the mat. So it's going to spin so that the pinky toe edge of your foot is facing the short edge of the mat this time. So with the front foot still facing forward and the back foot is facing out towards the side. Now if your legs are burning like mine, we are going to push from this position. We're going to push up and rise up. Let's just concentrate on the legs first of all. So shimmy your toes back or forward if you need to. Again, I usually need to adjust pretty much every time in this position because I tend to have longer legs in comparison to the rest of my body. So you may need to shorten your stance or adjust your stance in this posture. We're making sure if it hasn't naturally done it when you twisted around the heels, our two heels are actually in one line here. So making sure, so it would be as if you were standing like this, your two heels would be facing this way, and then you just moved back, back, back towards the back of the mat. If we're out here, we're not really in a good alignment, we might protect your joints, and if your feet are any further back, you're going to find it very hard to balance. So you'll know, hopefully you should feel it in your body when your two heels are in one line. Always double checking that. We can come up, if your knee is bent, come up into a neutral position first of all, just to rest the legs. Our two hips are facing sideways in this pose. Unlike our previous lunges and high lunges we've been doing, we're actually facing to the side this time. And we're going to, with the arms then, sweep them up so that they are in line with the shoulders. So they shouldn't be up here, they shouldn't be down here, they should be in line with the shoulders the whole time. Fingers pointing out both directions, like that full body stretch that we did earlier. It's as if someone's grabbing this hand and grabbing this hand and pulling you to both sides of the room. Your arm should be engaged the whole time. We don't want them drooping down here. It's a full body pose, this one. So let's bend into it. Let's bend that front knee, and as we bend the front knee, we want it to come down so it's over the ankle. We don't want it to go any further. Remember, exactly the same cues as your lunge. And if we're further back here, we're not engaging as much as we can in this pose. So if you can, keep it down, but not at the expense of if you start to bend down here, see, if I'm going too far down, my knee's gonna come in. What we want is to keep the knee pushing out the way. So we'll do just a couple of dynamic movements in this pose. So let's hold it, and then let's breathe in, sweep the hands up and straighten the leg. And let's go down into it this time. So we look forward, our gaze comes between the hands. We push into the feet, we keep the hips nice and open. We act like someone's stretching our arms out. And we breathe in, straighten the leg, rise up to neutral. Down again, strong, stable, firm, warrior two hips facing this way this time, and back up. Third and final time, make it super strong. Make sure your arms are engaged, your hips are engaged, your knees are, and you're pushing into the floor. Also push into that pinky toe edge of the back foot, push into that to keep you stable in this position. Back up, my legs are burning. Let's reverse the warrior. If you remember that reverse position from the last time, keeping the right hand on your thigh. We'll do it with a straight leg this time, and we'll bend our left hand up and over, opening up the front body. We'll then cartwheel our hands back down to the mat. So back into our runner's lunge that we were in. We'll flip the back foot round into that lunge position with the ball of the foot. And we're coming back into plank. So plant the palms here and step back into a plank position. Just bring your knees to rest on the mat and come back into a child's pose. Breathe here. Toes together. Knees can be quite wide in this one. We've already opened the hips a little bit in this practice already. So with that intention of your forehead coming to the mat and crawling your fingertips a little bit further forward, let's just rest here, getting ready for the other side, conserving some energy so we can use it to have a strong, stable warrior on the other side. Final breath, enjoy it, breathing out, and back to our downward dog, remembering your engagement in the hands this time before you send the hips up to the sky. Pedal it out if you want to. Love a bit of dynamic movement. Pedal it out. And this time we're going to go to the other side. So pushing into the left toes and the two palms, our right foot can then raise up from the sky. Checking that you're not just swinging your hip up and the two hips are in one line. Tense your whole right leg here to help keep that engagement. Then we can bend the knee, bring it in towards the chest and move forward slowly, slowly, slowly so we can drop the foot between the hands. Runner's lunge. You can always drop the knee here if you're getting tired. I don't want anyone to be too tired to maintain the proper alignment. But in saying that, do try and challenge yourself in this pose, maintaining that runner's lunge with the straight legs. Now I'm going to do this backwards this time, just so you can see how the pose goes from the other side, but try and remember all your cues from the first time around. So we're going to spin the back foot so the heel comes down. Our left foot is going to be at the short edge of the mat. We make sure here that our heels are in one line and that our ankle is below our knee. Again, this is where I have to always shimmy my foot forward. Then let's see this time if we can spin up straight into the warrior two with the arms. I'll show you. Let's go. Rise up, spin up, bring the arms out, and pushing the knee out the way, making sure it doesn't fall inwards, keeping the hips nice and open, keeping the arms at our shoulders, not drooping down. Keeping, I'm saying that too, the shoulders should be away from the ears. They shouldn't be tensed up here. Keep the shoulder blades nice and far away from the ears. Push into the back foot, the pinky toe edge of the back foot. And let's do some movements here. So let's rise up, straighten the leg, arms overhead, neutral position, and bend the knee, go back down. Look into the middle finger, staring forward like a strong, stable warrior. Breathe in, straighten the leg, hands to sky, neutral. My two hips are facing this way this time, so your two hips are tracking in one line as you bring the arms down. I can't remember if we've done this 2 times or 3, so we're all going to do it another time just in case. Let's rise up, go to neutral. Making sure our two hips are in one line. They are unmoving as we bend the knee. We're not bending the knee over the ankle. We're not bending the knee too much that it compromises our alignment and our knee comes in. One line, strong legs here. And that was our final time, so let's straighten the leg, rise up to neutral. Let's do that reverse position. Bring the left hand down onto the left leg and stretch the right hand overhead. Not putting your hand on the knee joint, remember. And cartwheel the hands back down to the mat, back into our runner's lunge, spin the foot. Back to plank here. Stay strong, lads, stay strong. Plant the hands, bring the feet back. Strong, stable plank. And let's go on, let's give you a rest. Let's come back down into our child's pose. Big toes together. See if you, again, just keep playing with it as you go. See if you can get your knees just a little bit further out. Warrior two is a great hip opener, so we're working on that. Breathing in deeply and breathing out. 2 more big deep breaths. You can breathe out through the mouth if that feels good. Let it go. Final breath in. And a final breath out. Well done. So start to crawl. Actually, tabletop. Let's go into tabletop. So push back up. Bring the knees in a bit closer together so they're underneath each hip bone if you need to. Wrists under shoulders. And let's do a couple of cat-cows. We've not warmed up the spine too much. Let's do that. So let's push the bum up, push the shoulders back, look up. And the opposite way, pushing into the hands, pushing out of the shoulders, tucking the tailbone in, tucking the chin in. Opposite way, look up, shoulders away from the ears, push back. And pushing out into your cat, tucking everything in this time. One final round of each. Go on, look up, breathe in, and tucking that chin, breathe in all of the air out as we push into the hands and curl the body up. And back to neutral. This is where your pillow and your block might come in handy. We're going to do a pigeon stretch. So our right knee is going to come behind the right palm. So right knee comes behind the right palm, and then the right ankle is going to come with the intention of coming towards the left palm, but not the whole way. So just bend slightly. So it's underneath, but still with a bend in it. Here, you're going to flex the foot, which means bend the toes in towards the shin. So flex the foot to protect the knee joint. Before we start to, with our left foot, start to crawl our foot backwards. Lovely. And open up the hip. Here, we want to maintain our alignment first. So we bring our hands to the sides of our body. Here, it's super important to maintain some sort of engagement in the core, because you might feel a tension sensation in your lower back. So if you do feel that, remember whenever we're in our Tadasana, our mountain pose, and we tuck the tailbone in, try that action here if you're feeling any tension in your back. This is quite a deep stretch to do, but it's honestly one of my favorites once you start to enjoy it, I swear. If this one's difficult for you, I still sometimes use a block and always had to at the start. Pop a block, a book, or a pillow underneath your bum here, because it's a really deep stretch in the back. And if you have another block or pillow handy, this is where you can bring it forward to the front of the mat. So first of all, we're going to stretch up, straight spine, act like someone's pulling you. That puppet action again, someone's pulling you to the top of the ceiling, and then there's my favourite bit when we melt down towards the ground. You've got a pillow here or a block, you can keep your forehead placed on that. Otherwise, you can bring your hands together on top of each other and place your forehead on top of your arms. Breathing really deeply here and slowing it down. When you breathe in, visualize the air going to the glute, going to the place where you're stretching. So visualize the oxygen going there and opening up, stretching it out. Deep breaths, enjoy this. I know it's intense, but it feels great. Final breath here. Breathe it all out and then start to crawl back up. Take the block out from beneath your bum and back to tabletop. So move slowly here whenever your hips being in this. You can straighten that leg out, and we'll do that rocking back and forward motion just to flush out that stretch. And back to tabletop. Just take a second here to feel the difference on the right hand side and the left hand side before we've stretched the left hand side. Feel it feels more open and light on the right hand side. Alright, let's do it again. So left knee comes behind the left wrist, and the the foot then comes behind the right knee. So it's in this, it doesn't necessarily have to be that shin in one line. That's quite difficult to do. Placing a block or a pillow underneath your bum. I'll put the pillow this time. Underneath your bum this time, so that you can start to shimmy with your toes backwards. And bring the fingertips up like someone's pulling you to the ceiling, tucking the tailbone and maintaining some engagement in the core so you're not pinching in your lower back. And this time, if you have a block or a book, you can place that at the front. So breathe in and then breathe out to melt down. Placing the block underneath your forehead here. And breathing deeply. not to rock over to the side if you feel your body doing that. 2 hips pointing down towards the mat. Enjoying for a couple more breaths. Final breath. Breathe it all out. And start to rise back up. Crawling very slowly with the fingertips, removing your props if you were using them. Coming back to that tabletop and stretching the right leg out, so we flush that out. Moving slowly when you've been in these deeper stretches. Don't want to jerk our body out of a deep stretch. Lovely, and coming to a cross-legged position. We'll do a quick forward fold. Again here, pillow's always a really handy prop to have, or a cushion or something like that. If you want to just tuck it slightly, not necessarily sitting on it, but tuck it slightly under the bum so we can help to straighten out our legs here. Or you can maintain a small bend in the knee. Absolutely, we're always working to straight. Never need to start out and straight. Doesn't happen for a lot of our bodies very easily. For some people it does, but for others, like me, it takes a wee while. So flexing those toes in towards the body, pushing the heels out the other way. We are going to sweep our hands and breathe in, sweeping our hands above our head, acting like someone's grabbed both of our hands and is pulling them up towards the ceiling. We stretch up before we stretch forward. We're not curling over here and trying to get the head to reach anything. We're trying to get the chest. As if the chest wants to meet the thighs is the intention. We can grab onto wherever is available to us, the ankles, the bottoms of the feet, keeping a small bend in the knee if you need to, and then we can bend our head down. Again, quite an intense, deep stretch, so moving slowly here, breathing deeply here, visualizing the breath being sent to wherever you need it, stretched out the most. Today I feel it a lot more in my upper back and my shoulders. You might feel it in your lower back. You might feel it in the backs of the legs. Couple more breaths here. And final breath in. Final breath out as you let the hands go if they're grabbing onto anything, and slowly, slowly, slowly uncurl the spine. We'll remove our pillow or block or anything if it's by us and come down into Savasana. Well done. Pop our pillow under if we fancy it. And bring the palms facing to the sky, out a little far out from the body. Tucking our shoulder blades, lifting them up and tucking them together. Letting the toes hang out. Relaxing down the hips. And just feel it into the body. Taking a final moment inward. For example, today my hips feel super open in comparison to the rest of my body. My whole body feels a wee bit lighter today. I can definitely feel more energized. Just have a think. Might only be small differences, but just have a think of the difference in your body compared to about 30 minutes ago. And relaxing it all down, melting into the mat, feeling super heavy. Just a moment of stillness here. You might want to return to your pushing the belly out, breathe in if you enjoyed that at the start of the class. Or you might just want to breathe naturally. Up to you. Alright, let's start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Waking ourselves back up. Let's do one more of those full body stretches because I love them. So keep bringing the hands above the head, but on the floor. Pointing the toes, zipping the legs together, pointing the toes. You can bring the palms together or just act like someone's grabbed onto both of your hands and is pulling you one direction. Someone's grabbed onto both of your ankles and is pulling you the other direction. You're going to breathe in, stretch, and breathe out, let it all go. Feel super heavy. Alright, let's roll to one side in your own time. Rolling over. Before we slowly come back up to a cross-legged seated position. Thank you so much for enjoying class number 6. I'm super happy that you've joined me the whole way through. I really do hope you're seeing improvements, and yeah, you've got to a stage now where you've got a lot of the core floor work done, and even with that Warrior 2 now, that's a great one to maintain transitions. So yeah, thank you. Namaste.